It was a cold, rainy night. The streets were almost empty, and the sound of raindrops hitting the taxi roof echoed in the silence. Daniel, a middle-aged taxi driver, was tired after a long shift. He thought of heading home, but just before he turned off the meter, he saw a lone figure waving at him from the side of the road. The figure was a young woman, dressed in a pale dress, soaked from the rain. Her hair clung to her face, and her eyes looked exhausted. Daniel slowed down, rolled down the window, and asked, "Need a ride?" She nodded silently and slipped into the back seat without saying a word. Her silence made him uneasy. Most passengers talked, or at least gave a clear address. But this woman only whispered, "Take me home." Her voice was so soft, it almost blended with the rain. Daniel glanced at her in the rearview mirror. She was staring outside, expressionless, as if she wasn't really there. He cleared his throat. "Where's home?" he asked, trying to sound casual. She slowly turned her head and whispered an old street name he hadn't heard in years. Daniel frowned. That part of town had been abandoned for decades. The city had shut it down after a massive fire. The drive was long and tense. Every time Daniel looked at the mirror, the woman's reflection seemed different. Once her lips appeared blue, as if she couldn't breathe. Another time, her eyes looked directly into the mirror even though her head was turned away. Daniel shook his head, telling himself he was imagining things. As they reached the old district, the air grew colder. The streetlights didn't work here, and the buildings stood like broken skeletons. The woman finally spoke again, her voice sharper this time. "Stop here." Daniel slowed down in front of a burnt-down house with shattered windows. He turned to ask if she was sure, but the back seat was empty. Daniel's heart stopped. The seatbelt was still buckled. The door had never opened. He felt his breath quicken as he realized she had vanished into thin air. Suddenly, his taxi radio crackled with static. Through the noise, a faint voice whispered, "Thank you for bringing me home." The voice was hers. Daniel froze. His eyes darted back to the house. In the upstairs window, for just a second, he saw the woman's pale face staring back at him. Her lips curved into a sad smile. Then she faded into the darkness. Daniel's hands shook as he drove away, the rain pounding harder than ever. He swore never to drive that route again. But every night since then, when the rain falls and the streets are empty, he swears he can still hear her voice, whispering from the back seat, "Take me home."